The relationship between former United States President Jimmy Carter and His Holiness the Dalai Lama is a powerful testament to the magic that happens when two compassionate souls, each devoted to the welfare of humanity, find each other. Their connection is not just a story of friendship, it's an inspiring example of how shared values can bridge cultural, geographical, and even political divides. Both figures have left indelible marks on the world, each in their own way, and together, their voices amplify a message that the world so desperately needs, a message of humanity, peace, and nonviolence. Doesn't that just fill you with hope? Jimmy Carter, the 39th President of the United States, is someone who has continually surprised the world with his relentless dedication to peace and human rights, even long after leaving the White House. He received the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002, but he has never sought out recognition. Instead, he's always been motivated by his profound desire to help others. On the other side of the globe, we have the Dalai Lama, the spiritual leader of Tibetan Buddhism, a symbol of resilience, and a beacon of hope for millions around the world. With his unmistakable, gentle smile and his teachings on compassion and love, the Dalai Lama has been tirelessly advocating for the rights of the Tibetan people and has become a spiritual guide to countless others. Can you imagine these two sitting across from each other, sharing ideas and experiences? It's a beautiful image, isn't it? Their meetings have been much more than mere diplomatic niceties. They've been opportunities to reflect on the shared struggles and to explore ways to make this world a better place. Carter admires the Dalai Lama's unwavering dedication to peace and nonviolence, while the Dalai Lama respects Carter's consistent work for human rights and justice. Together, they embody a powerful alliance, reminding us that friendship isn't limited by borders, it's built on a foundation of shared hope and determination. If Jimmy Carter and the Dalai Lama's messages resonate with you, hit that subscribe button for more historical context and shared values. To truly understand the depth of this relationship, we need to delve into their lives and what brought them together. Carter could have easily faded into the background after his presidency, but instead, he chose to fight for the greater good. In 1982, he established the Carter Center, a non-profit focused on promoting human rights and alleviating suffering, a mission straight from the heart. His actions in conflict mediation, disease eradication, and election monitoring showcase a man determined to make every day count. The Dalai Lama, born Tenzin Gyatso, was recognized as the reincarnation of the 13th Dalai Lama at a very young age. Imagine being burdened with that kind of responsibility. Then, at just 15, having to face the assertion of Chinese control over Tibet, a daunting challenge indeed. Despite having to flee to India in 1959, he never gave up. Instead, he embraced his role in advocating for his people's autonomy, while never letting go of his commitment to nonviolence and compassion. Isn't that incredible? Both Carter and the Dalai Lama share this incredible devotion to nonviolence, compassion, and the desire for a better world, values that transcend culture and religion. Their friendship reminds us that, at the core, we are all striving for the same basic things: love, peace, and respect. Doesn't that make you feel like we all have a role to play in creating a more peaceful world? The Dalai Lama's influence on Jimmy Carter. After stepping away from politics, Carter didn't just sit still, he sought personal growth, spiritual fulfillment, and ways to keep making a difference. In this journey, the Dalai Lama has played a significant role. The Dalai Lama's teachings on inner peace, compassion, and mindfulness resonated deeply with Carter's Christian beliefs. Isn't it amazing how different faiths can find so much common ground in kindness and love? Both men understood that true peace starts within, and that for society to change, it must be rooted in empathy, compassion, and justice. Carter has often spoken about his admiration for the Dalai Lama's resilience, the way he remained steadfast in nonviolence despite facing immense pressure. It's easy to think of nonviolence as passive, but nothing could be further from the truth. It requires immense courage, and Carter deeply respects that strength in the Dalai Lama. Imagine facing such challenges and still choosing peace. Isn't that something we can all learn from? In 2008, during a critical moment for Tibet, Carter met with the Dalai Lama at the Carter Center in Atlanta. It wasn't just a meeting, it was an embrace of solidarity. Carter's support sent a powerful message to the international community: we must find solutions through dialogue, compassion, and understanding. Isn't it inspiring to see leaders supporting one another, not for political gain, but simply because it's the right thing to do? Their meetings and shared advocacy for human rights. Throughout the years, Carter and the Dalai Lama have met on multiple occasions, each time reaffirming their shared belief in nonviolence and human rights. They've stood side by side, speaking out on the global stage about the importance of freedom, dignity, and the right to live without fear. Isn't that the essence of what humanity should be about? Carter has used his platform to amplify the Dalai Lama's message, highlighting the importance of compassion even when dealing with opponents. He praised the Dalai Lama's middle way approach, a solution that seeks genuine autonomy for Tibet without demanding independence. It's about finding common ground. About peace instead of division. That's the kind of thinking that can change the world, don't you think? Together, their efforts have shone a light on human rights issues that many would rather ignore. It's in these moments that we see the true power of leadership, when it's driven by compassion, not ambition, the power of nonviolence and compassion. What gives Carter and the Dalai Lama's relationship such strength is their unwavering belief in nonviolence. It's so easy in today's world to think that problems are best solved by force, yet these two leaders remind us that true strength lies in patience, dialogue, and understanding. Doesn't that make you rethink what real power looks like? For Carter, the Dalai Lama's commitment to nonviolence has been a profound source of inspiration. Even in the face of severe oppression, the Dalai Lama has never wavered. How many of us could say the same? Carter has taken this inspiration into his own work. From conflict mediation to eradicating diseases, Carter's actions speak of a belief that change comes from compassion, not coercion. Their shared belief in nonviolence extends beyond political conflicts to every aspect of life. The Dalai Lama's teachings on compassion have clearly influenced Carter's humanitarian efforts. His work with Habitat for Humanity, for example, is an embodiment of the Dalai Lama's teachings. Compassion isn't just an emotion. It's action. What a powerful way to live, don't you think? Carter's advocacy for the Tibetan cause. Jimmy Carter has long been a voice for those who are unheard. His advocacy for Tibet and for religious freedom is an extension of his belief in the dignity of every human being. He has spoken against the oppression of the Tibetan people and has called for the Chinese government to respect their fundamental rights. Isn't it heartening to see such courage and compassion from a leader? The Carter Center has worked to raise awareness about Tibet, keeping their struggle alive in the global conversation, even when it's inconvenient for the powers that be. Carter's efforts have helped to give the Dalai Lama a platform to spread his message of compassion. And in doing so, they have kept alive the hope for a peaceful resolution, a legacy of peace and understanding. The bond between Jimmy Carter and the Dalai Lama is far more than a friendship, it is a beacon of hope. Their collaboration inspires us to believe in the power of empathy and nonviolence. Isn't that the kind of inspiration we need today? They have shown that leadership isn't about power or control, it's about service and love. Their legacy will live on, not just in the words they have spoken, but in the lives they have touched and the changes they have inspired. The Dalai Lama often says that peace begins within, and Carter has taken that message to heart, bringing it into the work he does at both the personal and global levels. Together, they have shown us that the real path to change is through compassion and understanding, deepening the bond. The role of spirituality. One of the most fascinating aspects of the relationship between Jimmy Carter and the Dalai Lama is how spirituality has played such a profound role in deepening their bond. Imagine two men from vastly different spiritual backgrounds, one rooted in Tibetan Buddhism, the other in devout Christianity, finding common ground through their shared pursuit of inner peace and love for humanity. It's incredible to think that the basic tenets of these two seemingly different religions converge so beautifully in their actions and beliefs. For the Dalai Lama, spirituality is an integral part of daily life. His focus on mindfulness, meditation, and the understanding of human suffering resonates deeply not only with Buddhists but with people from all walks of life. Jimmy Carter, in his own Christian way, has mirrored these principles throughout his life, emphasizing love, charity, and forgiveness. Their dialogue has often transcended the political and has ventured into philosophical and spiritual realms, a rich exchange of ideas that highlights the unity of the human experience. Isn't it comforting to know that despite different traditions, love and compassion are universal? It's said that in one of their private conversations, the Dalai Lama shared insights about the Buddhist concept of suffering and the impermanence of all things. Carter, with his own experiences of challenges and setbacks, found great resonance in this teaching. Life is filled with pain and joy, and understanding the transient nature of both can bring peace. Can you imagine the two of them discussing this over a cup of tea? It's a beautiful thought, one that makes you reflect on your own journey and how to navigate life's ups and downs. Their spirituality has not just remained in their personal reflections, it has translated into their actions. The Dalai Lama has always emphasized that compassion isn't just a religious practice but a necessity for human survival. Carter has taken this message to heart, working tirelessly on projects that alleviate suffering, whether through eradicating diseases or building homes. Their shared spirituality reminds us that it doesn't matter what faith you belong to, what matters is how you treat others and the kindness you spread. Isn't that a lesson worth remembering? A shared vision for global peace and human rights. Another profound aspect of their relationship is their shared vision for global peace and human rights. Carter and the Dalai Lama are not merely idealists, they are practical visionaries who understand the importance of action. They know that talking about peace is not enough, real change requires effort, resilience, and sometimes stepping out of one's comfort zone. Their courage to do so is what sets them apart. Carter has often spoken about the need for moral leadership. He believes that true leaders do not lead by force but by example. The Dalai Lama, too, has echoed similar sentiments. He has never commanded armies or amassed political power, yet his influence stretches across the globe, touching the hearts of millions. Isn't it fascinating how leadership rooted in compassion can be more powerful than leadership driven by power or fear? In 1991, Carter and the Dalai Lama shared a platform at the Nobel Peace Laureates gathering in Oslo, Norway. This was more than just a meeting of laureates. It was a powerful display of solidarity. Both men used the opportunity to advocate for peaceful solutions to conflicts worldwide. Carter emphasized the importance of understanding, negotiation, and mutual respect in resolving international disputes, values that the Dalai Lama has long championed. Their shared vision extends to addressing some of the most pressing issues of our time: poverty, inequality, and the destruction of our environment. The Dalai Lama has consistently called for a shift in how we treat our planet, urging compassion not only for fellow humans but for all living beings. Carter, through the Carter Center, has worked to combat diseases that disproportionately affect the world's most vulnerable populations. Isn't it amazing how their efforts align in creating a world that is kinder, fairer, and more just? Lessons in resilience. Overcoming adversity. The lives of Jimmy Carter and the Dalai Lama are filled with incredible stories of resilience. They have both faced tremendous challenges: Carter, the political setbacks and personal struggles; the Dalai Lama, the loss of his homeland and the ongoing struggle for Tibetan rights. Yet, neither has given in to despair. Instead, they have used their experiences to fuel their commitment to a better world. What if we all did the same? The Dalai Lama often speaks about transforming adversity into strength. His exile from Tibet could have easily led to bitterness. But instead, he chose a path of peace and compassion. Similarly, Jimmy Carter has faced criticism and political failures but has used those experiences to grow, focusing on humanitarian efforts that transcend politics. It's a reminder that true strength isn't about never falling, it's about rising every time you do. Carter's journey through cancer treatment is another testament to his resilience. Despite his diagnosis in 2015, he continued his work, demonstrating an unyielding spirit and a commitment to serving others. The Dalai Lama, who has faced health issues of his own, has likewise continued his teachings, always emphasizing the importance of a positive mindset. Isn't it inspiring to see such perseverance? The power of dialogue and understanding. One of the most powerful lessons that Jimmy Carter and the Dalai Lama teach us is the importance of dialogue. In a world increasingly polarized by differing ideologies, their example is a reminder that we must listen to one another. True dialogue isn't about winning an argument, it's about understanding another perspective. Imagine if more of our leaders embraced this approach, how different might our world look? Carter and the Dalai Lama have always prioritized dialogue over confrontation. Their conversations have spanned a range of topics, from human rights to spiritual fulfillment. They understand that the path to peace lies in understanding, not division. The Dalai Lama has often said, dialogue is the only way to resolve conflict, regardless of the nature of the problem. Carter has echoed this belief in his work, encouraging negotiation and compromise as tools for peace. Their approach to dialogue is not just about politics, it's also deeply personal. They advocate for inner dialogue, the process of reflecting on one's own thoughts and actions. The Dalai Lama's practice of meditation is a form of this inner dialogue, a way of understanding and calming the mind. Carter, through his faith, has also practiced reflection and prayer as means of seeking clarity. This emphasis on introspection is a powerful reminder that peace in the world starts with peace within ourselves. Impact on global movements for peace. The influence of Jimmy Carter and the Dalai Lama goes beyond their own actions. It has sparked global movements for peace and compassion. Carter's establishment of the Carter Center has created a legacy of humanitarian intervention, election monitoring, and health initiatives that have impacted millions. The Dalai Lama's teachings have inspired countless individuals to embrace compassion as a way of life, contributing to a global shift towards mindfulness and empathy. One notable example of their influence is the rise of mindfulness and meditation practices in the West. The Dalai Lama's advocacy for these practices has helped bring them into mainstream awareness. People across the world are now embracing mindfulness as a tool for reducing stress and increasing compassion. Jimmy Carter's own embrace of these principles has further highlighted their importance, showing that mindfulness is not just a personal practice but a foundation for leadership and service. Their advocacy has also had a profound impact on the younger generation. Many young people today are inspired by their messages of peace, equality, and environmental stewardship. The Dalai Lama's dialogues with scientists and educators have brought a new perspective to how we understand the mind and our connection to the world. Carter's involvement in education and health initiatives has empowered countless individuals to take action in their own communities. Isn't it wonderful to see how their influence continues to shape the world? Reflections on mortality and legacy. As both Jimmy Carter and the Dalai Lama advance in age, their reflections on mortality offer profound insights into what it means to live a meaningful life. They have both spoken openly about the inevitability of death, not with fear, but with acceptance and grace. The Dalai Lama often reminds us that death is a natural part of life, a moment of transition, not an end. Carter, with his deep Christian faith, has similarly spoken of death as a passage to another state of being, a continuation rather than a conclusion. Their reflections on mortality are intertwined with their legacies. They are not concerned with how they will be remembered in terms of power or prestige, they are concerned with the impact they have made on the lives of others. Isn't that a beautiful way to live, to focus not on oneself, but on the difference one makes in the lives of others? Their actions remind us that the measure of a life well lived is not in titles or accolades but in the love and compassion we leave behind. In recent years, Carter has been candid about his readiness to accept whatever comes next. He has expressed gratitude for the life he has lived and the people he has been able to help. The Dalai Lama, too, speaks often about gratitude, for every day, every opportunity to do good. Their perspectives on life and death are deeply inspiring, reminding us that each moment is precious and that our purpose is to serve others and make the world a little brighter. A call to action. What can we learn? The story of Jimmy Carter and the Dalai Lama is not just a historical account, it is a call to action for each of us. What can we do, in our own lives, to carry forward their legacy of compassion, peace, and service? Their lives teach us that no act of kindness is too small, no effort for peace is insignificant. We may not all have the platform of a Nobel laureate, but we each have the power to make a difference in our own communities. Perhaps we can start by embracing the values they hold dear: kindness, empathy, and nonviolence. How can we apply these principles in our relationships, our workplaces, and our communities? The Dalai Lama often says that world peace begins with inner peace. Maybe our journey starts there, with mindfulness, with taking the time to understand ourselves and cultivate compassion in our hearts. Carter's work with Habitat for Humanity is another example of how we can contribute. We may not all be able to build houses, but we can find other ways to help those in need, whether through volunteering, supporting causes that uplift the vulnerable, or simply offering a helping hand to a neighbor. The possibilities are endless, and the impact of small, consistent actions can be profound. The enduring power of hope. If there is one word that captures the essence of Jimmy Carter and the Dalai Lama's relationship, it is hope. In the face of challenges that seem insurmountable, whether political oppression, global conflicts, or personal setbacks, they have both chosen hope. They have shown us that even when the path is difficult, it is always worth striving for a better world. Isn't that the kind of hope we all need today? Their lives remind us that hope is not passive, it is active. It is the choice to get up each day and work for peace, to stand up for those who cannot stand up for themselves, to believe that our actions can make a difference. The Dalai Lama often says, if you think you are too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito. It's a reminder that every action counts, no matter how small. Jimmy Carter and the Dalai Lama have given us a powerful example of what it means to live with hope, to lead with compassion, and to serve with humility. Their friendship is a reminder that even in a world filled with division, unity is possible. Even in a world filled with hatred, love can prevail. And even in a world filled with despair, hope can shine through. Conclusion. A model for future generations, the bond between Jimmy Carter and the Dalai Lama is a model for what true leadership and true friendship can achieve. Their story is one of courage, compassion, and a relentless pursuit of a better world. They have faced adversity, yet they have never given up. They have been voices for the voiceless, advocates for peace, and symbols of hope. Isn't that the kind of legacy we all aspire to leave? As we reflect on their journey, let us be inspired to take action in our own lives. Let us remember that peace begins within. That leadership is about service, and that every act of kindness can create ripples of change. The world may be filled with challenges, but as Carter and the Dalai Lama have shown us, it is also filled with opportunities to make a difference, to spread love, and to build a more compassionate world. Their friendship and shared commitment to peace and human rights have left a mark on the world that will not fade. They remind us that, even in the face of adversity, we can choose love over hate, understanding over fear. And isn't that the kind of legacy we all hope to leave behind? The story of Jimmy Carter and the Dalai Lama is a beacon that shines brightly in our often troubled world. It is a reminder that no matter where we come from, no matter our religion or culture, we all have the power to make a difference. Their lives are a testament to the enduring power of compassion and the boundless potential of the human spirit. So, let us carry their message forward. Let us be the change, let us be the hope, let us be the light that our world so desperately needs.